Imagine it's 2004. You walk down to your local Game Crazy. You're looking through the games. The smell of carpet mixed with new 2000s plastic is wafting through the air. And then this little pudgy 13-year-old Mexican walks in. He walks over to the used game section and starts looking through the games. That's me. I'm that little fat Mexican. I go over to the used video games and start looking through them. One of them catches my attention. It has a foil covering on it. It said on the cover that it was the RPG of the year, and I didn't even know what that meant because I didn't even know what an RPG was. I was pretty damn ignorant to video games and video game news, and up until then, most of my news came from my Nintendo Power subscription that my mom would buy me. So I flipped it over on the back. It had the most detailed world ever, that there's character development, and so on. I didn't really understand any of it, but the cover was cool, and I bought the game right there. So I get home, I pop the game in, and what ensued was this long process of trial and error. I didn't know what the game wanted from me in the character creation, or that my actions and decisions had any consequences. But after a ton of restarts, I slowly started to understand and make my way through the game. But at that point, it never crossed my mind how this game would change my view of video games and how this game would change my view on life. I'm not going to be going over the entirety of the game. It's not really going to serve our purposes today. But I am going to touch on a couple of my favorite parts, but I'm mostly going to be talking about the main story. Alright, so the game begins with Azura giving you a small monologue. To be honest, I never really pay attention to it. I didn't pay attention to it then. I didn't this time. You start having nightmares, tossing and turning, and the sweet voice of the homie Jib wakes you up. Rest in peace. Every time I hear that, every time I hear him, I get filled with so much nostalgia. I don't know what is it about this beginning. It's so simple, but it's just beautiful. He wakes you up, and right here is where you put your name. A guard comes and picks you up. You go up to the docks. You choose your race. From there, you go to the census office. You make a class, choose a class. You make it to the next office. You meet with Captain Celis. He gives you a package from the current emperor saying that he's the one who authorized your release. And he gives you instructions to go to Balmor to meet up with a dude named Caius Casades, or is it Casades, whatever. After that, you walk out into Said Anin, your starting area, and you get this little prompt that just says, "Alright bro, here's the journal, get at it, good luck." That blew my mind as a kid, because up until that point, I had never really had a game just tell me that. Go out, interact, go wild. This starting area is really something special. It is probably one of the best tutorial areas in any game ever. This area is really cool, man. You get to see ghosts and you interact with a dude falling out of the sky, which is super funny. You can solve a murder mystery. The point is that the more you interact here, the more you explore, the more things you'll come in contact with that will prepare you for what's to come later in the game. And it's just an awesome place to do your training. So with that, let's do some training with some help from the local wildlife. Okay, that's good enough for now. Something I want to mention is how much I appreciate the little pieces of wisdom the game gives you on a level up. The game really loves the idea that by your own merits and tenacity is how you progress. Fail often, and fail forward. Even down to the combat. It looks ugly, it hasn't really aged well at all. Shit, it was trash for 2002, but it really gives you that feeling that success is a war of attrition. and that if you stick with it, you'll see tangible growth. In time, you're not gonna miss as much, you'll hit harder, you'll be more consistent. You'll see that all that stumbling and clumsiness was worth dealing with, but let's not get too sentimental yet. From here, I went and did some stuff with the Thieves Guild, and I went to Solstheim, did some stuff there, but I'm not really going to touch on those. They're cool, but my next favorite part I'm going to quickly touch on, probably my favorite faction of the whole game, is gotta be the Morag Tong. Yeah, the story's hella simple and there's nothing special to it, but there's just something I really love about the idea of a legal, I don't know, I guess I can call it a criminal organization of hitmen, and you can take out hits so long as you got the paperwork in your pockets. It's just amazing. And the first part of the faction story is just you taking out hits, just being a regular hitman, kind of like this.
I'm the label sugar daddy. Yeah, hey. Tell that bitch to come get at me. I got me a doll stabbers in my ass wet palace. Hey, yeah, I'm very rich. She likes it raw. Hey.
Okay, let's move on to the main plot. All of this takes place on an island called Vvardenfell, and the story revolves around the Tribunal, a group of 3 dudes that are kinda like gods, and their fight against an old homie, Dagoth and his cult, the Sixth House, which operates out of a volcano called Red Mountain, which is the center of Vvardenfell. Now, Dagoth doesn't like the Empire and their fancy clothes, so he wants to get rid of them by using the Heart of Lorkhan, which is this super cool artifact that gives him immortality and the Tribunal their power, but also doubles as a battery for an Ava called Akulakan. I'm going to repeat myself a little, but the game begins with you having some dream visions, after which you start out in a town called Seyda-Neen, where you find out that the Emperor, Uriel Big Dick Septim VII, is the one that set up your release from prison. You're given orders to go meet up with Caius Cassades, who's a member of the Blades, which are like a covert intelligence agency for the Empire. Caius is like pretty funny. I really like him, mostly because my dude's in Balmora. I guess they told him, hey man, blend in, and the dude's like, well shit, I gotta blend in, so let me become a sugar addict. Let me just get fucked up on this sugar. They can't know I'm here on official business. Either way, Caius makes you part of the Blades on the Emperor's orders, and now that you're a spy, his first tasks are for you to go find info on the Sixth House cult and the prophecies of the Nerevarine. The Nerevarine, man, that's hard to say together. Later, Caius reveals that the reason all this is happening, you being part of the Blades, your release from prison, was all because the Emperor thinks you might look like the Nerevarine if you squint your eyes and tilt your head. And now you're told you need to go uncover these prophecies and just fulfill them. Alright, well you go out and figure out from the indigenous tribes exactly what the prophecies are and what needs to be done to fulfill them. You learn that it's 7 prophecies that need to be accommodated. The first 2 are that the Nerevarine will be born on a certain day to uncertain parents, and will be immune to corpus disease, which was created by Dagoth, who shakes his ass out in Red Mountain and spreads that shit all over the place. You already fulfilled the first one, but anyone can be born on a certain day to uncertain parents. I think that's what makes it beautiful. Later, you do become immune to corpus disease because the stinky Dagoth priest injects it into your dick hole, and now you have to survive an experimental cure given to you by Divith Fur, who lives in a tower with his clones, who are also his daughters, but also his wives. Next, you gotta find Moon and Star, a ring that the Nerevar wore, who you're the reincarnation of. When you find the ring, you get a vision from Azura, who's the deity who speaks to you at the start of the game, and they confirm that you're the Nerevar. I'm just gonna say that instead of the Nerevarine every time because it's just a lot easier. In the cavern where you find the ring, you actually see the spirits of all the people that failed to finish all the trials. And again, it just alludes to the idea that it's never a specific person. This could be done by anyone. The next 2 trials are to be declared the Hortator, the Hortator of every great house, and the Nerevar by all the tribes. After you achieve this, you get invited to go speak with Vivek, who's the resident god living in Vivek, so that you can discuss the attack on Dagoth Ur's stronghold in Red Mountain. Vivek here gives you a gauntlet called Wraithguard, which will allow you to wield the tools Sunder and Keening, which in turn allows you to destroy the heart of Lorkhan. So now you run over to Red Mountain, you find Sunder, you find Keening, then you go to Dagoth Citadel.
Fire and war. Come, Nerevar, come and look upon the heart. Lay down your weapon.
And eat his ass. Plot twist, it was you who got your ass ate, and Dagoth is still alive, because you need to still destroy the heart of Lorkhan. So you go find it, destroy it, and now you can actually kill him.
Oh, I'm a god. How can you kill a god? What a grand and intoxicating innocence.
In doing so, the whole cavern collapses, the blight gets cleared up, and the cult dissolves. Azura gives you a pat on the ass, and that's the end of the story. I know that I've kept the story super simple, I cut out a lot of stuff, and the story is really deep, there's a lot more to it, the lore is insane, but what I really wanted to touch on was just this. You show up being a nobody. By accident or by hard work, you fulfill these prophecies. You're not just showing up being the Nerevar. You have to work at it. You're not the one, you become the one. This game reminds you of a fundamental truth, a truth that transcends the realm of gaming. We're not special, nor are we destined for greatness by birthright. And yet, within the depths of our souls, there just exists a flame that defies the odds. A flame fueled by perseverance, tenacity, determination. And it's through these unwavering qualities that we achieve the extraordinary. Because of this game, I was able to discover that success is not reserved for the chosen few, but rather it's earned through relentless effort and an unyielding spirit. All I've ever wanted to do is prove I'm not worthless. And as I sit right now, I'm sure that little pudgy Mexican kid many years ago would be stoked at what he's looking at. I would want him to know that all that confusion he's going through will clear up, and that he won't be fat forever. If you haven't played this game yet, I highly recommend it. Yeah, it's old, it's gonna take some effort, you're gonna need to mod it to fix the bugs, but it's worth it, warts and all. Well, that's about it. I know you see that subscribe button down there. I'm also gonna need you to like the video. Tell your friends about me. My name is Iron Obelisk, and God, I love video games.